I'm Sam Jones.
And we are your children's grade 3 teachers this year. So what we're going to do now for you is show you, go through some information for the year, and then this will be followed by a Q&A session as well. So first of all, we're just going to go through some of the subjects that we do in grade 3 and just a brief outline of what we will teach as well. So in English, in semester 1, we look at persuasive writing as well as narratives. In semester 2, we look at information reports and some poetry. In mathematics, we look at the topics continuously throughout the year, so we try to revisit them as often as we can to ensure that your child understands the concepts. We don't just look at them once throughout the year, we try and revisit them. So they're up there as well. Towards the end of the year, we start to look a little bit more at some challenging concepts such as multiplication and division. In science, there are 4 sort of categories. We look a lot at heat, heat sources, how heat's produced, look at living things, and night and day and changing states of matter. In HASS, we split it up. HASS is divided into 3 categories. We've got geography, history, and civics and citizenship. So we cover those 3 areas throughout the year. In art, art is broken up into visual art and media art. So we've got different units that we look at for those subjects. And pastoral care this year, there'll be a bit of a focus on a Friday afternoon where we'll be looking at bridge builders, a bit of a refresher on bridge builders. We will do the Bounce Back program this year, and we'll also incorporate some circle time into our teaching as well. Life and faith, we try and really strongly integrate that with our HASS and pastoral care as well.
The specialist teachers this year remain the same. We have Dr. Reek for performance arts. Mrs. Kathy Winks will run our PE sessions. Japanese is taught by Mrs. Everett. Our learning support, we've got Kate Horton and Fiona McCready. We have a new literacy support specialist, which is Lisa Godderby, which you will all know. So Lisa was a teacher aide. She's now our literacy support specialist. And the year 3 and 4 teacher aide is Mr. Troy Jones. Our daily routine, so the bell goes at 8:15. Students should unpack their bags and get lined up ready to come inside. We'll have roll call at 8:20. We aim for brain break at around about 9:30. Morning tea at 10:30, and the children will now walk to the cafeteria to pick up their morning tea. Morning tea finishes at 10:50, and we have lunch at 12:50, and again the children will walk up to the cafeteria to pick up their lunch orders. The pack-up bell is at 2:55, and at 3 o'clock the day ends.
Now, home learning this year, we use a grid, which is a fortnightly grid. So on the next slide, we've got a little bit of an example for you. But the expectations in year 3 and 4 are 20 to 30 minutes per night. However, if your family is quite busy with extracurricular activities, you can choose to do home learning on a weekend. You make it work for you. If at any point during the year you find that your child is struggling or your family is struggling to manage time with home learning, please email myself or Sam, and we will work with you and your family to help you fit that in. So home learning, we will hand it out on a Monday, and then it will be due the following Friday. We will we'll start that, in week 2. So the first week of school we won't have any, but starting that in week 2. We do really encourage children to take as much ownership over their home learning as possible. So we do, of course we need you to supervise them while they are doing some tasks, especially if it's on a computer or a device, but please encourage them to take some risks in their home learning, asking them lots of questions rather than just telling them the answers. We would greatly appreciate that.
And we do expect children to have their own novel for some reading each day as well from home, or the library.
Yes. So this is an example, of the grid. So we try and keep it relatively simple. We try and tie it into our learning in class as much as we can. The blue blue squares are compulsory, meaning they have to be done, and the white ones are optional tasks.
Okay, so our weekly routines and procedures. Our library will start in week 2, and 3A will be going on a Friday, and 3B will go on a Wednesday. We do need their library bags for borrowing. Unfortunately, Year 3 students won't be going to the library this year at lunchtimes at this stage. HPE. We have HPE on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Monday is our theory lesson, so they don't need their PE uniform at all. Tuesday, they will get changed at lunchtime into their HPE uniform, and they're allowed to go home in that uniform just on Tuesdays. On Wednesday, they will need to get changed into their uniform at morning tea and then get changed back into their formal at lunch. Please make sure everything is labelled, shoes as well if possible, and socks. Our timetables, we're still finalising our weekly timetables, and we will send that through as soon as that's done. Strings immersion, start date is to be confirmed, but I believe it might be week 3 or 4.
It is a free, Sam. It is a free program through CHAC. More information will be coming from the music department, so look out for that too.
And private music lessons, we do our absolute best to remind students to go to their lesson on time, but you know, the responsibility is very much with them as much as possible. So it can be difficult to remind each and every student for every lesson. So please remind them if you can. And music department, they usually call the classroom as well if they've forgotten to go.
So independence, as we move up to upper primary, we've got the new uniforms, we're on this side of the fence now, it's all very exciting. So we do encourage students to be as independent as possible at this age. So things like packing their own bags, even wearing their own bags through the school gates, little things like that really do go a long way in helping students to become more independent. Learning to dress themselves in the morning and tying their shoelaces, because as Sam said, they do need to get changed here at school. So it's really important that they do have that independence and they're confident in those abilities. Now, this year with school drop-off at the moment remains the same as it did last year. So for our new families, what that means is, unfortunately, after week 2, Year 3 parents aren't permitted on site campus for pick-up and drop-off. You can utilise the Kiss and Go area if your child is confident in that, or you can meet them at the front of the gate where primary reception is. If you do have any questions, please let us know about that. But we will be walking children in the first week or so to certain areas, just so I'm buddying them up with other grades so they are confident in where to go. Excursions this year, hopefully we get to go on them. We did manage to go last year, which was very exciting. In Year 3, we plan to go to the planetarium and the Japanese gardens at the Botanical Gardens in Mount Cootha. So we haven't finalised that just yet, but generally for the past few years we've gone in term 3. So hopefully we will be able to do that again this year.
NAPLAN. So NAPLAN testing dates will run between the 11th and the 21st of May. That's dependent on whether we do them online or whether we run with paper tests, so that's still to be confirmed. There are 4 assessments in NAPLAN, which covers writing, reading, language conventions and numeracy, but we will give you more information on that as we get it. So just communication, so any reports from specialists, they go directly to Mrs. Chaplin or Mrs. Spencer. We have our Classroom Capers weekly newsletter, which I really encourage you to read. You can either access it through the Parent Lounge or the app or the website. So that covers things that we've done that week and also any reminders for our upcoming week. Very happy to answer any questions that you have at any time. Please feel free to email. Happy to meet face to face, but as I said, just send us through an email and we'll get back to you. Yeah, email addresses are on the board.
So as we will have a question session online with you shortly, we just thought we'd cover a couple of questions that I've been asked I've done year 3 for a couple of years now. So these are sort of the frequently asked questions that we usually get in these sessions. If you do have any other questions though, when we do have our online session, please get involved in that. So with the library bag, in grade 3, so Miss Shannon is our librarian. Students will walk up to the big library. They were doing that at the end of last year in grade 2 anyway. We'll take them on a bit of an orientation walk as well. It's not compulsory to have a library bag to borrow. However, we strongly encourage students to bring their bag that they had in grade 2 just to keep those books safe. It's easy, when they get those big chapter books, they can be a little bit heavy, and it is a pretty long walk up there, so it just makes life a little bit easier. So Strings Immersion is that free program we were talking about earlier. It's not compulsory. However, in the past, the majority of students in grade 3 do participate in that. I think last year, I had only a handful of students who didn't do it. However, it's completely up to you.
Which hat? When students wear their formal hat to and from school, but that's it. So during playtimes, they will wear their play hat, their bucket hat. So they are actually not allowed to use their formal hat at break times. In terms of getting the canteen orders, I know this is a bit nerve-wracking for children and parents, but we will buddy up the kids for the first couple of weeks with some of the older kids to make sure they know exactly what to do. Don't get lost along the way. It's not a big walk anyway. So yeah, it's definitely not something that they need to be too concerned about, because we'll make sure that it goes smoothly.
And just on that, I've had this a couple of years in a row now. Some parents accidentally forget to change the grade level on their flexi schools, and sometimes because they're on the grade 2 list, it gets sent down. They walk all the way up and it's not there. So please just remember to fix that up on flexi schools as well.
Okay, so that's it. So we will touch base with you again at our information session, where it gives you the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.